guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video is going to be the top 10 things I wish I knew before I started nursing school, because let me tell you, I feel like somebody lied to me. Okay, I feel like someone left out some very pertinent information when I signed up for this program. So I want to share with you guys these things so that you know what to expect when you start. So the first thing that I wish I knew before I started nursing school is that this is hard, y'all. This is hard. And I knew that. Like, I didn't come into this program expecting it to be easy. That's not the case at all. I just didn't understand what exactly made nursing school hard until I got here. So obviously the material is hard, okay? We're learning disease processes, the way drugs work, which drugs go to which disease, the side effects they cause. But on top of that, we're learning the signs and symptoms that will manifest in your patient when they have these diseases. But we're also learning a lot about people themselves, their personalities, how to talk to them, how to deal with them, their basic needs. So we're learning a lot of different things, which makes the material so dense and heavy. And on top of that, we have other struggles, okay? So we have class, but we also have labs. You have clinicals, and where you have actual human beings in your care, and you don't know anything. The second thing that I wish I knew before I started nursing school is the sacrifices you would have to make. So, I expected to have to make a few sacrifices. Like, I don't just mean sacrificing your time. You're going to have to sacrifice those relationships that aren't doing you any good, that are just causing you more harm than good. You're going to have to sacrifice, luxuries. I know my friends and I, we don't have time to work. Therefore, you're not going to be able to spend the money that you would normally spend on things like nails. Well, first of all, you can't have your nails done anyway because you can't take care of patients. Don't look at my nails. They're too long right now. But you can't have that done anyway. For a lot of us, those things make us happy. So you definitely have to be prepared. So those sacrifices on top of, not being able to spend time with your family and friends as much because you have school to do, that definitely does put a burden on you. But if you are aware that these are the sacrifices you have to make and they're only temporary, it'll get you through it. And honestly, leads into the third thing I wish I knew before I started nursing school. And that is the importance of that's the importance of really good friendships in nursing school. You are going to have to, I don't care if you're shy, I don't care if you don't like people. If you don't like people, you probably shouldn't even be in nursing school. But you are going to have to make friends, y'all. You need accountability in nursing school. You need someone who knows what you're supposed to be doing and is going to make sure that you're doing it. Also, there's just a lot going on in nursing school. There's just dates and test dates and assignments due and clinical times. And there's just so much going on that low-key, it's hard to keep up with it all. Granted, you're supposed to be using your planner. You're supposed to be, staying on top of it yourself. But it's also really good to have those friends that support you, that make sure that you don't miss the little things. Like, not only do you need someone to hold you accountable for everything that you have going on, you need someone that understands. And like I said, your family and your friends, they care and they want what's best for you, but they don't get it. And having someone in that program that's going through what you're going through, they understand how you're feeling. They understand why you have to make these sacrifices. They understand. They just get it, y'all. And I know that we want to think that our family and friends will get it, but this is a whole different beast that I feel like no one really understands until they're in it. So definitely make friends in nursing school, guys. A good reason to have friends is if you like study groups. I personally don't like study groups, but they say do it, so go ahead. While I'm talking about relationships, the fourth thing that I wish that I knew before I started nursing school was that you need to create a relationship with your faculty. And I know when I was in college, and maybe some of you when y'all were in prereqs, you heard that all the time. You're like,
make sure you talk to your professors. Don't wait until the last minute to get help. We're here for you. Nah, 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 nah.
But y'all, they really do care about your grade. They're also really good people in general. So they understand, because they've been through this, they understand that you have a lot going on emotionally. I've also noticed that if you start developing relationships with your faculty in nursing school, you'll be a lot more comfortable talking to future employers. I know my reasoning for not wanting to talk to my professors in college was that, it's awkward. Like, what do I have to talk to you about? Like, I've noticed that the more I go and talk to these professors, I'm talking to a figure of authority. I'm getting used to, not even just asking for help, but asserting myself and making myself known as a young professional. So the more you get used to that, the easier it will be to do that in the future when you have to apply to jobs and go on job interviews or network outside of school. So it's definitely important to kind of grow up a little bit and not be scared. You might as well get used to it and put yourself in that situation. The fifth thing I wish I knew before I started nursing school was, what the heck is a clinical? Like, what? I knew that, like, okay, there were clinicals and I was going to put on these little ugly uniforms and I was going to go straight to the hospital. But then what? In clinical, it's your chance to take everything that you learned in class and in lab and put it to an actual human being. So you're going to get assigned a patient. You're going to be able to do everything that you've technically learned how to do, plus some. So if you learned a skill in lab, you can expect to do it in clinical. If you learned a disease process, you're expected to be able to contribute or answer questions about it in clinical. So really your chance to get that hands-on experience with an actual living person. You're also talking to other nurses and, seeing how you do things in the real world, because what we're learning in those textbooks and what we actually do in the hospital are not the same thing. So clinical is your chance to kind of see the differences between the textbook version of the real life, and also your chance to see what you can do. They also did not tell me the amount of paperwork that will be associated with clinical. When you get a patient, you have to do research on them. Whether you learn that disease process or not, you're going to have to know everything there is to know about that disease. You have to know what drugs they're on, the side effects of that drug. You need to know basically everything that's going in and out and around that patient, because you are responsible for them. You may not be their primary nurse or their doctor, but they're in your care. And you will spend a significant amount of time with that patient because, this is a fun one. Okay, so the sixth thing I wish I knew before I started nursing school is that nothing is set in stone. Nothing is concrete. Low-key, nothing is organized, okay, y'all? So nursing itself is a very, very flexible job. Nursing school, you have to have that type of flexibility already. You have to be willing to know that things are going to change. Classes will be rescheduled. Classes will go over time. Classes will get out early. Clinical will last longer than you thought. Clinical will be an extra day. Clinical might be a Saturday. You never know. Okay, so you really just need to, especially, I know a lot of us are type A personalities. That's just kind of like the type of people who go into medicine in general. Let that go, okay? Because in nursing school, first of all, you're not in control. Second of all, you have other things to worry about, honestly. So things are going to change. Things are going to be kind of misconstrued. They're going to have a lot of miscommunication. And honestly, that's sad, but that's just how it is. And if you spend so much time trying to harp on the inconsistencies instead of just going with the flow and doing what you have to do, you're not going to do well. So don't focus on those things that you cannot control. Know that for the next year and a half, this is your life, and you need to be ready to bend and stretch and flip whichever way you need to get out of there. So focus on your classes, your clinical, your patients. Don't worry about the schedule changes and things like that. Don't ever expect things to be that easy. The seventh thing I wish I knew, and I'm still kind of not accepting this right now, but I'll get there. It's that grades don't matter, guys, okay? The good old C's get degrees. Okay, I hate that. I really freaking hate that. I am the type of person that I will cry if I get a B, but not anymore. I'm not even gonna say grades don't matter. It's just that you need to change your mindset, and a 4.0 should not be your goal. You cannot go through nursing school saying, I'm going to be a valedictorian, I'm going to get a 4.0, and I'm just going to be great at everything. Because no, you're not. First of all, that doesn't make you a good nurse, because a lot of A students are terrible nurses. So, and that also kind of makes you focus on the wrong thing. That's when you start memorizing things and trying to brain dump onto an exam instead of, understanding and critical thinking and putting yourself in real life situations. And basically, you need to switch your mindset from trying to ace that exam to how to study to save a life. And that's really, once you make that shift, your grades will go up. But if you're trying to study for an exam and try to study to memorize and just be able to brain dump instead of trying to understand how can this apply to a patient that I may have, you're not even going to get that 4.0. So you have a better chance of just letting that go and trying to work on that critical thinking. The thing I wish I knew is basically what's going on with these textbooks, okay? So a lot of times, which you probably already know from prereqs or from your first degree, is that you don't always need a textbook. And the same applies in nursing school. You know, your teachers are going to say, oh, this textbook is required. It doesn't necessarily mean it's required. But when it is, required, they mean that, okay? So a lot of us hate reading textbooks. I know I hate reading textbooks, but they just do not put anything in these slideshows anymore. Like, I don't even know why they have them at this point. So y'all really need to get used to reading your textbook. Obviously, I'm not saying try to read it line for line, memorize it, because that's not going to happen. But you really need to know how to extract information out of a textbook and apply it to the broad outline that is a PowerPoint. Number 9 is a big one. It honestly should have been number 1, but it's down here. So if you're still watching, congratulations. Number 9 is practice questions are way more important than learning that information. Okay, so I know that sounds ridiculous, and I just learned this like a couple weeks ago, which is why I'm so excited right now. You're basically taking NCLEX style questions in nursing school, and those questions are not what you're used to. So I did well in undergrad because I was really, really good at learning information, absorbing it, and just putting it back on the paper. And that doesn't work anymore. So I've kind of been able to switch my focus. Rather than trying to get every little detail there is to know out of that book that you have to read and all your notes, you need to spend more time doing practice questions. And I've noticed that. I really don't know how else to explain it to you guys, but just listen to me when I tell you practice questions are your friend. Now you probably want to know, where do I find these practice questions? All right, I got you. Your textbook. Do the practice questions at the back of your textbook for sure. Also, don't skip over those little case studies that they have in there, because I know they seem like a lot and just unnecessary, but they do help you get that critical thinking in. So do your case studies in your textbook. If you have an NCLEX practice program that your school is affiliated with, like mine, do those questions as well, because like I said, nursing school has a lot of NCLEX style questions, so the more you expose yourself to those questions, the better it is. Also, there's a book going around that everyone uses. It's the Saunders NCLEX book. I personally don't have it, but I heard that that's a really good resource. So anywhere you can find NCLEX style questions, use them. Okay? Last thing that I wish I knew before I started nursing school is that you are going to be expected to know everything, and you cannot, and that is okay. You're going to get into this program and you're going to think that someone knows way more than you, or someone has way more experience than you, or your teacher just expects so much of you in clinical, and you need to know every little electrolyte value, every different lab value, I can't even explain it to you guys. You're going to think that you need to know everything there is to know about medicine when you're in nursing school. And you're going to have to learn a lot of it, but it's okay to not know it all. And what's more important is that you acknowledge that you don't know it all, and that you know where to find the answers that you need. Okay, so first of all, once you accept the fact that you're not going to know everything, and you focus on, like I said, studying to better a patient's life, you're going to do better. But there's nothing worse than a nurse that thinks they know it all. And they're actually very, very dangerous. So do not be embarrassed. Do not stress yourself out trying to be the perfect student and the perfect nurse. And definitely be able to admit your weaknesses, because they're going to make you a better student, they're going to make you a better nurse, and they're going to make you a better person. 10 things I wish I knew before I started nursing school, guys. I hope that they helped you, enlightened you, and helped you make a decision on if you want to do this. I know I probably said a lot of negative things about nursing school, but it really is worth it, guys. It's a learning curve for everyone. It's something that you're going to have to get used to, and I feel like knowing these things and just mentally preparing yourself for them is definitely going to make it a lot easier for you guys. That's all I have for you guys today. If y'all enjoyed today's video, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't, hit it anyway, because I'm not going to get any better at this if no one supports me. So I will see y'all next time.